Dr. Quaicoe, thank you so very much for making time to join us. So, as you can see, both the political parties, of course, at this point we can say safely that except the ruling party and perhaps those others that were for it at the IPAC that we do not know about, so far on this table, on this platform this morning, your approach is faulted.
Good morning, Samson and my colleagues. My greetings to everybody. I want to correct you, you yourself, Samson. You have been saying LI, but it's rather CI.
CI,
so I want you to
CI.
Yes, yeah. You have been quoting LI. And also to my brother Benter, he says the electoral commission doesn't want to be audited. If you wouldn't mind, you can go to the audit service. And as I speak, we are responding to some audit queries that were done just this year. So electoral commission cannot say that they will not allow
asset audit. I will come for the asset audit.
You come.
I will come.
You have not come, so you come and get it.
Oh, we've tried a number of times. So thank you.
Okay. I'm saying come, don't worry. Then my brother Quaicoe, to my greeting to you. I'm happy when people quote Article 42 of the Constitution. Forgive me if I get it wrong in terms of quotation because I'm not a lawyer. But it is clear that if you're 18 years and you're a Ghanaian of sound mind, you qualify to vote, therefore we should register you. So I believe that anything that the electoral commission will do that will stop people from registering is a form of antithesis. They're going against our own rule. But we should also bear in mind that the law says if you are a Ghanaian, if you are 18 years, so how do we establish that? Do you just, are we saying anybody who presents himself that is a Ghanaian should be registered? He's 18 years, should be registered. Something, if you followed the 2020 election and previous ones, you read that all the confusion surrounding registration is about who a Ghanaian is and who is 18 years. The parties, especially the two big ones, will be accusing one another of having perpetuated the registration of minors and foreigners. So as electoral commission, we cannot sit there. That's why we are always adjusting our system. First, we were not using biometric. Now we are going biometric. We want to do anything that will remove the chaos that is associated with our registration. If you go to Article 51 of the Constitution, the article don't say that, and I want to quote, the electoral commission shall, by constitutional instrument, make regulations for the effective performance of its functions under this constitution or any other law, and in particular public elections and referenda, including provision for voting by proxy. So the constitution makes provision. The constitution knows that even though they have stated the conditions under which you should register, you need to do certain things to establish the identity of the applicant. So you can't just stand up and say you are a Ghanaian, you are 18 registered. Now, if you take the 2020 registration, I wouldn't want to be quoting, I was mentioning the names of constituencies so that I'll be branded being anti or pro party. But in a particular constituency, when we started addressing some foreigners who had managed to register, 52 foreigners voluntarily submitted their ID cards to the Electoral Commission. Through that, they registered through the guarantee system, and they were misdirected or misinformed. So, what do we do to stop this? Anytime we compile register, we will spend a lot of days cleaning the register based on challenges and fight and the rest. So we said, okay, how do we improve? We put all these things before IPAC, not the Electoral Commission, before IPAC. And for the last election, we had 12 candidates. This time, only NDC did not attend. And it was interesting to know that even though they have not been attending, anytime we are holding a IPAC meeting, we send them an invitation. When we finish, we send them the minutes. So that at least they will be, even though they are outside IPAC, they will be abreast with what is going on. So we all deliberated, discussed all these things. Then we said that, okay, going forward, I think this is what happened. Something, I'll send it to you and let me read it for you for the benefit of our listeners. I received this from Dr. Abdul Ganiu, Head Corporate Affairs NIA. Now, based on the figures we put across, We are saying that people who are qualified to register now is 19.9, if I got you right. Now their statistics as at 3rd August. So look at the date, 3rd August. They have registered 70,138,609, and they have issued out 16,567,460. So if you look at these figures, then technically we are left with about 2.8 million to get their cards. And the NIA registration is continuous. So it's not that they have finished, it's not static, it's continuous. And we are also worried about continuous registration. So it means that while we have 2 years to finish the registration for the 2024 election, they are also continuously registering Ghanaians. So if you put the figures down, we are talking of about 2.7. So are we saying that they cannot use 2 years to register 2.7? So we are of the view that to establish the identity of Ghanaians and their ages, so that our district offices will not become battlegrounds, then let's go by the acceptable way that come with their voter ID card, so that when you come and no party is there, even your Ghana card is an evidence. And again, if you come with a Ghana card, it does not mean that you cannot be challenged. So it is possible that some people might have also acquired the Ghana card through fraudulent means. If anybody knows that, you can still challenge them. So we want to establish this, so that we can have smooth registration, that is a continuous one. Again, initially, there was this argument that we were going to compile new voters register. I want to state it here emphatically, that this is for only those who have not registered. So we are not talking of new voters registration. It's for those who have not registered.
Right.
And by the figure that we got, our interpretation is that for every year, about 450,000 people turn out 18. So that is the target per year. So since 2020, we have 2 years. Therefore, as at now, by our estimation, we have 900,000 people to register. So I don't see why we will be...
So by the time of the elections, you are looking to sort of, is it a mop-up, get an extra almost 2 million people onto the register. Is that the case?
Exactly so.
Right.
Exactly so.
And when do you plan to end the registration process, even though what you are seeking to kick in now is continuous registration? When will it end so that someone may not have the opportunity to register after that point?
Thank you. Now, if you look, somebody quoted Tenadi issue. The Tenadi issue was about not being allowed to register because we said you have finished registration. It's not about identity. So with the continuous registration, that issue is cured. Then again, the law... So
please clarify this for me, that once the window of continuous registration or the regime of continuous registration sets in, there will not be a deadline for people who want to register to get a voter's ID. Is that it?
Yes, you are right. But the law says that but if you register less than 60 days to an election,
okay,
then you will be registered, all right, but your name will not be included in that particular election because we need the figures to plan. We need the figures to print.
On that basis, do you have the assurance from the NIA that some 2 million, a little over 2 million that is left to be registered for the NIA card, they will be able to finish that?
According to them, by the end of this year, they would have cleared them. Because if you look at 2022 years ago, they had registered around 6 million. And now it's 17. To me, that for 2 years, they have registered about 11 million. So clearly, even though they may not be going the way we want it, they are going. And NIA is doing continuous registration.
Right.
We also want to do continuous registration.
There's 17 million who have registered and there's 16.5 million who have their ID cards. Do you have an idea what number of that constitute foreigners who are not entitled to participate in our elections?
I don't have those figures, but the foreign, according to them, they are insignificant figure. So I have not requested for those figures. Because according to them, everybody they want to register is around the the 19 point now, approximately 20 million.
The main reason you are not susceptible to the proposal for other forms of identification is to cure non-Ghanaians finding themselves on the register. Is that it?
You're 100% right. And see, it's something. The political parties, see, everybody in Ghana knows what I'm talking about. That every time our residence centers become battleground, and there's no reason apart from accusing each other of raising non-Ghanaians or raising minors. That's the reason why. So if you're not able to cure that, then we are transferring the battle from the polling station to our offices. And that is what we want to cure.
So eventually, if Parliament does not agree to your proposal and brings in other sources of identification, how will you feel about it?
We will feel bad, but everybody will get to know when the relatives dawn on us. Because what we want to avoid, if Parliament does not agree and we go to the final, you see the signs. Then you say that probably if we have listened to the electoral commission, we would have avoided. But let's check from history. Let's check from history. There is the parties who will be accusing each other, not the electoral commission. They will come and even accuse the electoral commission of perpetuating or facilitating the registration of minors and foreigners. Are
you amenable to giving yourselves a last opportunity to use the system as it persists, at least for the 2024 elections, so that other sources of identification will be included?
I mean, something. We want to avoid the fight. We want to avoid post-registration, tedious screening and the rest. So for us, and we are convinced that based on the record, where they have, the 70 million were registered from 2018. So we are talking about 4 years. So if they are able to register 17 million within 4 years, why can't they register the other figures within 2 years?
Okay.
So half of 17 million is about 8.5. And we are talking of 2 million.
How many people do we have on the register, the electoral roll?
17.0 something. So approximately 17 million.
So if you were able to take care of the problems of 17 million on the register, and you are looking to take care of the problems of 2 million that will come on, what's the issue? What's the problem? That should be easy for you to do.
We can do that. But I read that the conflict led to even loss of life and other things. And one person dying, you can't cure it. Just one.
Okay.
Nobody should lose a strap of hair because of elections. So there are issues that we want to address. No, we should, and the issue, as Professor Quaicoe said, is about mistrust.
Okay.
Because if you trust that the right thing will be done, all these things should not be coming up.